heat waves, pollution, wildfires, droughts, and pandemics. The world seems getting worse and worse every day. What if I told you all the problems world facing right now has one major reason that nobody talks about? In this video, we are going to see how a single molecule is changing the entire planet. First of all, what is ozone and how it is harmful to us? Ozone is a gas molecule composed of 3 oxygen atoms. Often called smog, ozone is harmful to breathe. Ozone aggressively attacks lung tissue by reacting chemically with it. When ozone is present, there are other harmful pollutants created by the same processes that make ozone. The ozone layer found high in the upper atmosphere shields us from much of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. However, ozone air pollution at ground level where we can breathe it causes serious health problems. Ozone specially affects airways and lungs. Let's see if there is a connection between COVID-19 mortality and ozone pollution. There are many scientific research links COVID-19 to ozone exposure. This research from Milano suggests that ozone can act as COVID-19 virus incubator. Another research from New York links COVID-19 to ozone exposure. Bear in mind that all of these articles are on short-term effects of ozone. There isn't enough research on long-term effects of ozone pollution. In that regard, let's look at similarities between COVID-19 and ozone exposure. Both ozone exposure and COVID-19 triggers overreaction in innate immune system response in lungs. Both of them stimulate cytokines, which increases mortality. Ozone and COVID has connection with toll-like receptor 4. Genetic susceptibility plays role in COVID-19 and ozone exposure. Strangely, they both increases the risk of blood clots, heart attacks, and strokes. If you ask what the similarities means, it means most of the COVID mortality was because of ozone exposure. So how ozone exposure causing all of this? It has long been known that ozone exposure increases risk of ARDS. ARDS stands for acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is a life-threatening condition where the lungs cannot provide the body's vital organs with enough oxygen. Mortality in ARDS is often driven by multiple organ system failure. It's known that septic shock and multi-organ failure is the most common cause of COVID-19 deaths. So if we put things in perspective, ozone exposure inflames and damages airways. That makes lungs more prone to infections, which causes a pneumonia. Then septic shock comes with organ failure and death. Let's not forget that ozone exposure especially affects elderly. With age, there is a gradual decline in the regenerative properties of most tissues. Because ozone damages airways and lung tissue, mortality rate is much higher in elderly. Also because of regenerative properties of vitamin C and vitamin D, they are crucial with the treatment of COVID-19. In hindsight, if you ask why China was hit first. Before pandemic began in Wuhan, ozone pollution had reached record levels in China. And because ozone affects mostly people in outdoors, lockdowns stopped COVID infections like a magic in China. Ground-level ozone comes from pollution emitted from cars, power plants, industrial boilers, refineries, and chemical plants. Because of that, underdeveloped regions like Africa has lower COVID deaths and developed regions like Europe has more. So with this much evidence, how come scientists didn't find it? The answer is easy. Corruption. Big corporations have too much power. So they are influencing politicians and health officials. They control the media, therefore, they control the narrative. Anyone dares to question official narrative falls from grace. This is just tip of the iceberg. In next video, we will see how much ozone is contributing to the global warming, droughts, and how causing thousands of deaths with heat waves.